Talk Football.
Oh, welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Football, off-season special number 2. Today we're going to recap the draft and give our thoughts on it. So, the draft was this weekend, April 25th through 27th. What would you classify as the big surprise?
Well, the big surprise was the Giants taking Daniel Jones in the first round. Daniel Jones played at Duke, and there was a lot of speculation before the draft that the Giants were going to take Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. Well, once Daniel Jones got taken by the Giants, Dwayne Haskins fell all the way to 15 to the Washington Redskins. But with Daniel Jones, and I mean, he was highly touted. One of the more highly touted, quarterback prospects in the draft, but no one thought that he would be taken this high. At, I want to say it was number 6.
Yeah, number 6.
No one thought he would be taken that high. I mean, they knew that, he would be a valuable draft pick, whether day 1 or day 2, but no one saw him going top 10.
Also, I think a big surprise was, or one of the big surprises was the Raiders taking Farrell at 6.
Well, I mean, with the Raiders having 3 first-round picks, I would have understood it more if Farrell was taken probably their second or third first-round pick. With him being taken so high, I mean, it kind of raised speculation that, looking at the fact that he got taken over his teammates Dexter Lawrence and over Christian Wilkins. And so people thought, now that I think about it, I thought it was a pretty good move, considering the fact that Oakland's pass rush was pretty weak last season. Arden Key only recorded, 1 sack last season. So giving Arden Key a reliable running mate like Clelin Ferrell, who made a huge impact for Dabo Swinney's defense back when he was at Clemson, can do the Raiders wonders next season.
And another thing was, what about DJ Metcalf and Greedy Williams falling into the second round when both were projected as mid to late first round picks?
That's the nature of the beast when it comes to the draft. I mean, it happens every year. You see these players who are highly touted, first round prospects, first round talent. They slip to the second and third round. I mean, but that's just how the draft is. Teams, they take players that are best on the board for whatever they need as far as their fit. Greedy Williams going to the Browns just made the Browns defense just a lot deadlier. I mean, they already have Denzel Ward out there. On the defensive line, they already got Sheldon Richardson. They already got Myles Garrett. They already got Olivier Vernon at the linebacker position. And it seems that John Dorsey's trying to build a powerhouse.
Yeah, so what you think that Greedy Williams can step in and start for the Browns right away?
I think he can. I mean, he's highly talented corner. Made significant contributions for the LSU defense under Coach Aranda. I would not be surprised if Greedy Williams is out there starting week 1.
What's kind of ironic about the Browns is that for the first time, what seems like their entire existence since being not reinstated, but recreated almost as an expansion team back in '99. They weren't drafting starters for the first time since then.
One thing I also knew about the Browns, they always had the number 1 pick in the draft. It was kind of weird seeing the Browns not even having a first-round pick.
Yeah, and the Browns surprisingly also focused mostly on defense. They had 7 picks, which 5 of them were defensive players. They took a kicker, Austin Seibert, out of Oklahoma. And then in the 6th round, they took Drew Forbes, guard, Southern Mississippi.
A pick that impressed me was getting Mack Wilson, linebacker from Alabama. And I'm surprised he got drafted so low as round 5. I thought Mack Wilson was going to be round 2 or round 3. Mack Wilson was pretty much the field general for Saban's defense last season. But I think Mack Wilson can make an impact right away when he gets to Cleveland under the tutelage of Coach Kitchens. But having him out there with Olivier Vernon this Browns team is stacked on paper, but can they live up to the hype though?
So the Cleveland Browns did not have a first-round pick for the first time in what seems like forever, if ever. And I heard John Dorsey say he was happy to have as the 17th overall pick, being Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, because he considers that their first-round pick for this year.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, if you look at it with Odell Beckham, being probably the biggest splash in free agency. I mean, other than Antonio Brown.
You wouldn't place him over Antonio Brown?
I put him on the same playing field. I'll put him probably neck and neck. I wouldn't put one above the other. I put them neck and neck. It's kind of impossible to put one above the other because they're both so talented, and they both are, they're both very talented in their own rights. So I wouldn't put them above or below each other.
So, with the first pick overall, the Arizona Cardinals took Kyler Murray, Oklahoma. And then, that is just 1 year after drafting Josh Rosen, 10th overall. So, pretty much right off the bat, you're saying you wasted last year's first round pick. And a top 10 talent for that. Then they trade him to the Miami Dolphins for peanuts.
Well, it was for a second round pick, I believe.
2 second round picks. And then I think they swapped.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say for peanuts. I mean, Josh Rosen, he's only been in the league for a year. And, I mean, his stock is low off the bat. I mean, just being in the league for a year and the type of season he had. Yes, I understand that he's a rookie, that he was a rookie last season. And he's still trying to come into his own, but at the same time, I mean, you got to look at the value. I mean, I think 2 second round picks, because that's where you get a lot more of the best talent in the nation in the draft. I wouldn't say it was for peanuts. I thought it was a pretty good deal. Josh Rosen I feel that Arizona was lucky to get, even a second round pick out of it. I honestly thought it would be like maybe third or fourth round.
Well, when you think about it, Josh Rosen, not only was he a rookie, he was a rookie on a terrible team with
barely any support.
A coach that was fired after one season. But he was still considered one of the better quarterbacks coming into the league out of UCLA last season. I mean, 10th overall pick.
They call him the Josh Chosen Rosen, the Rosen one. But I feel that going to Miami, I feel it's going to rejuvenate Josh Rosen. And I feel it's going to be the launching pad that he needs for his career. Ryan Fitzpatrick is about 35, 36 years old. He's a journeyman. I think this is his 8th team, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So there's no telling, because he shows up when he wants to. So there's no telling what type of production we're going to see from him on that field. But if he's not producing to standard, then it's no big deal for Miami to throw Josh Rosen in there in the mix so he can prove himself.
I think if Miami is smart with Rosen, they will have him sit behind Fitzpatrick for a year, because they're not a playoff quality team yet.
Not quite yet. You'll have to give them maybe a season or two in order to get up to the playoff quality.
And they're not making the type of moves in the offseason that, say, the Cleveland Browns have been doing. I don't see them very aggressive.
They got to get some superstar talent in that team like the Browns did. They have to get some supers. Now, I mean, Miami may be an underdog, but, I mean, don't count them out.
I know, but I just don't see it. So, what team would you say won the draft? I mean, there were a lot of really good draft classes this year, but who stood out the most to you?
That's a hard one. Because there are some teams that really stood out, that really made some good picks. But a team that I have to highlight would be the Washington Redskins. They ended up getting Dwayne Haskins. They got Montez Sweat to add to the defensive line. I believe they got, didn't they get Bryce Love, or did Bryce Love go somewhere else?
I think they got Bryce Love. Let's just take a quick look. I think he went fourth
Yeah,
round.
yeah, they got Bryce Love, which is going to add to a nasty backfield. I mean, you already have Adrian Peterson, you already have Darius Geis, Samaje Perine, and now you got Bryce Love, who was one of the top running backs in the nation. Then you got Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. You got Montez Sweat, and they were able to add, some players on defense like Gene Moreland from James Madison, a highly formidable, FCS team. Cole Holcomb from North Carolina. I mean, and they got another edge rusher, Jordan Brailford from Oklahoma State.
Washington actually had a lot of draft picks. They picked up a lot of guys, I guess. I don't know. I feel like they were pretty solid on defense. I think the offensive side of the ball, especially in the area of the passing game, was one of the bigger questions.
And also, like a pick that I like to highlight, they got scroll back down. Ross, I'm trying to get his last name right. Ross Pierschbacher from Alabama. He was actually one of the better centers in the nation. So, giving the quarterback and like having a guy of his IQ and having a guy of his talent at center is going to really help the Redskins as far as moving the ball up and down the field.
I think one of the teams that did really well for what they had coming in was New Orleans Saints. They had five picks entering the draft, with one in the first 4 rounds. They had a second round pick, number 62, and then a fifth round, 2 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th. They were able to trade with Miami to trade up in the second round. What they took McCoy out of Texas A&M, the center, which they really needed after the sudden retirement of Max Ungar, which they did sign Easton to come in and play center, but he is more naturally at guard, if my memory serves me right.
I mean, I think a good pick that the Saints had in the draft would be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, safety out of Florida.
And he was expected to be potentially a late first round or go no later than the second, but he dropped all the way to the 4th.
I think the Saints were pretty methodical in the draft. They got Eric McCoy. I mean, of course, center out of Texas A&M to replace Max Unger, depending on how Nick Easton does at center, because the Saints had picked him up in the offseason as well. I like how they were able to add some depth at tight end by getting Alize Mack from Notre Dame.
Now, tight end was one of the positions that Saints fans expected them to select earlier in the draft. I think the Saints also surprised their fans by not drafting a receiver or a defensive lineman.
I was very surprised due to the fact that the Saints had a high-powered offense last season. That's no secret. But, as far as production-wise, the Saints were shorthanded because for most of the season, it's been mainly the Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas show. So, and then not only that, we wasn't seeing much production from Jaquan Smith. We saw some flashes from him and also from Keith Kirkwood. Didn't see much from Austin Carr. Dez Bryant hurt. Cam Meredith got hurt. And so I really thought the Saints were going to pretty much go all in on wide receivers to add some depth and give Drew Brees a lot more help, considering the fact that Drew Brees is 40 years old.
I think a lot of Saints fans were also surprised with the selection of his second safety, Saquon Hampton, out of Rutgers in the 6th round after taking Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the 2nd round out of Florida.
I was kind of surprised due to how deep the secondary is. I mean, you already have Von Bell, Marcus Williams.
Well, they let Kirk Coleman go in the offseason.
So that wasn't a surprise.
It wasn't a surprise, but, at the same time, now they did add some depth at safety with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but now they got 4 guys at safety, I want to say. And didn't they sign someone from Minnesota?
I think you might be talking about Latavius Murray. That's running back. I don't think they signed a safety from Minnesota. I don't think they did.
Okay. Then I stand mistaken. So, who would you consider to be a complete? It's like you had it your shot, bro. What the hell are you doing?
You talking as far as the draft? You talking as far as the teams?
Yeah. What team in the draft do you think just kind of flopped?
First round, I thought a lot of teams did pretty good. That's a hard one. Now, I will say that for the very first pick of the draft, the Giants kind of flopped. I really wish they would have taken Dwayne Haskins.
I think a lot of Giants fans were hoping for Haskins.
But the Giants did cash in pretty well. They did focus a lot on defense. They got Dexter Lawrence from Clemson, DeAndre Baker, who won a Thorpe Award last season, cornerback out of Georgia, O'Shane Zimenez, edge rusher out of Old Dominion, and he was actually highly touted. I thought he was probably going to go late first round, early second round. And they also ended up getting Darius Slayton from Auburn.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm a bit surprised they didn't go wide receiver in the first 3 rounds because of the Beckham trade. Now all they really have is
Sterling Shepard,
and then
Ingram at tight end.
With a 38-year-old
quarterback who
your first round pick is, I mean, if you're smart, is going to sit for the first year. Daniel Jones will definitely be a bust if he starts as a rookie.
No doubt about it. I mean, you got to give him time to learn from Eli. So, I mean, we're not going to see Daniel Jones on the field for a while.
They need to Aaron Rodgers him.
But the thing is, I feel that Eli Manning is now content now that the Giants drafted a first-round quarterback. And so I feel that Eli Manning will feel no pressure as far as retiring after this upcoming season.
Yeah. So anyone else just kind of like, I mean, I know we haven't seen any of they're all rookies, and we haven't seen any of them take the field yet, and that I think is always a flaw of analytics at this point in the season, is we're sitting here judging who is and who isn't going to do well when we really don't know until they take the field. But is there anybody else whose picks were kind of
Like I said, it's hard to say. I would have to say Detroit. I didn't think they were going to draft a tight end so high, especially with your first pick in the top 10. I wish they would probably have gotten somebody else. But I didn't think that they were going to go ahead and get a tight end. I mean, that's not taking anything away from TJ Hawkinson, but at the same time, I mean, with all the talented guys that's on the board, I figured Detroit was probably going to target somebody else.
Now, Detroit did seem to focus a lot back and actually, no, they went back and forth between defense and offense. They had several picks this draft. I can see why. I mean, Detroit's one of those teams that needs a lot of help at every position, but really quarterback.
I mean, like Arizona, Detroit is a big mess.
I wouldn't say that the Lions are as bad as the Cardinals.
Oh, no. I mean, not by a long shot, but the Lions do need a lot of help. And, you know, Bob Quinn does have his work cut out for him.
Now, I would say that one team that did surprise me in the draft this year was
the L.A. Rams.
The L.A. Rams, who traded down twice for picks essentially next season.
It seems that they're trying to build a Super Bowl team. I mean, for 2020, maybe. They're trying to build a super powerhouse that leaves no doubt. But what I do like, the pick that I do like from the Rams was when they got Darrell Henderson from Memphis in the 3rd round. And I know that Todd Gurley had a sigh of relief, and he feels better knowing that if something happens to him, they could put in Darrell Henderson. And Darrell Henderson, like I said during the live show, you know, he's a home run hitter. You know, he's one of them running backs that can give you a big chunk of yards whenever you need it. He'll give you those runs whenever you need it. He'll give you whenever you need a first down. You get what I'm saying.
And he came from a very prolific offense of Memphis. I would think that he should do a pretty good transitioning to Sean McVay's high-powered, quick-paced offense.
Well, Sean McVay is an offensive technician. I feel that Darrell Henderson will definitely be able to blend in because he's so used to a fast-paced offense. And something, with Memphis offense is something a little similar to the LA Rams. Maybe just a little faster since it's professional. But I feel that Darrell Henderson will pretty much have a field day in that offense. And now the Rams have a reliable back if something happens to Todd Gurley.
And that was a huge problem for the Rams, is that Jared Goff, like I said in the draft coverage, was that clearly he has not matured into a position where he can handle the pressure of having to carry the offense by himself.
Well, I mean, when Todd Gurley missed, most of the last 6 games of the regular season, you saw Jared Goff struggle. I mean, Goff and Gurley, they're like yin and yang. In order for Goff to succeed, Gurley has to succeed. So with Todd Gurley being out and, they're not able to run the ball, Jared Goff struggles because they don't have a run game that can't open up the passing game, and then the Rams' offense just goes to a complete mess. I mean, prime example, look at the Chicago Bears game. I mean, Todd Gurley was in that game, but he was shut down by that defense.
Well, they were in Chicago and L.A. The Rams are a Southern California team.
I mean, that's true, but, I mean, still.
A lot of teams struggled in Chicago.
Oh, I know. I mean, we can go back to the 2006 NFC Championship game when the Saints went to Chicago. I mean, if you go to Soldier Field, and that's why I was glad the Bears didn't get number 1 seed, because if the Bears ever got number 1 seed in the NFC, no one's going to Soldier Field and beating the Bears unless you're a northern team who can handle the weather.
Okay, because I was about to say the Bears did lose at home to Philadelphia.
I mean, yeah, they did, but I mean, you got to look at Philadelphia. They're a northern team as well. They're used to the elements, and they're used to a bunch of that crowd noise.
Okay, so I guess the question now is, well, we have to wait and see these guys hit the field.
I can't wait. I'm ready to see these rookies in action.
So that kind of is our 2 cents on the draft, a little bit of a follow-up opinion. Like I said before, you really won't know how any of these guys do until you hit the field and they're seeing live action for the first time. And I wouldn't even count the preseason.
Preseason is just basically knock the cobwebs off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you see teams run their base offense. They don't really get deep into the playbook.
All right, so preseason predictions of who would be your front runners for Rookie of the Year. Start offense.
Offensively, I would say Rookie of the Year. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I would probably go with Dwayne Haskins. That's if he can beat out Case Keenum for the starting job in D.C. Defensively, I would have to go with, it would be a toss-up between Josh Allen and Devin White.
Devin White
defensive.
Well, Devin White is a really good linebacker, but he is going to be going up against those NFC South defenses.
I mean, NFC South offenses?
Offenses. So he's going to be pretty busy as a rookie.
Well, I mean, Devin White he's one of those once-in-a-lifetime linebackers. I mean, looking at a guy 6 foot weighing 240, and he runs a 4.3. And he's aggressive. He has a nose for the ball. He has speed. You could put him on a slot receiver, and it's not a mismatch. Devin White can hold his own out there. If not Devin White, a guy that I'm excited to go watch is Ed Oliver. He got drafted to Buffalo from Houston. And at first, at one point, he was projected as the number 1 overall pick at one point. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what he does. I'm also interested to see Josh Jacobs to see if he can revive that run game in Oakland. So, all these rookies, this is a stacked rookie class and that I'm excited to watch. and I'm really waiting to see what type of contributions they're gonna make on the field next season.
I'd say for me, my pick for Rookie of the Year, defensive. I'm gonna make a bold pick in Rashawn Gary.
I like that.
I think he's going to a team. What was it? Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah. Green Bay signed 3 really good defensive players this free agency period. So I don't know. I like Rashawn Gary because I think he'll fit well into that system. Offensively, I it's hard.
It is. There's a lot of offensive talent out there.
Well, not just that, but their defense and offensive line really dominated the first few rounds. So outside of Josh Jacobs and N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State, who went to the Patriots.
Yes.
I don't know. I just don't know. I really can't give you a solid, confident pick. But you know what? Hell, I'll Bryce Love.
I mean,
just throwing
Bryce
someone out
Love is he's going to be going to a really stacked backfield. I'm not sure how many carries they're going to give him out there.
Well,
in
that's
Washington.
why it's a bold pick.
That was really bold. Very bold, actually.
Say, probably not going to happen. But just because I don't know, otherwise I'm just go Bryce Love, Rookie of the Year.
Well, there's a guy I'm really going to be looking at. He's very versatile by the name of Mecole Hardman, wide receiver / returner from Georgia. And it's obvious the Chiefs drafted him because, there's an investigation going on with Tyreek Hill in the child abuse case. And and not only that, the Chiefs have barred him from all team-related activities. So there's a possibility that the Chiefs might release him. And so they're preparing early. They got Mecole Hardman, who's probably of a Tyreek Hill prototype.
And there was something else that we didn't cover, and that was DJ Metcalf falling all the way to the last pick of the second round when he was projected as a mid to late first round.
It really shocked me because in the last show, I'm like, all right, they need a wide receiver. They need to get DJ Metcalf. You look at a guy 6'3", 228 pounds, runs a 4.3 or 4.4, a freak of nature wide receiver who can win 50-50 balls, and he can be a deep threat for you. And so I'm just like, why y'all wait till the last pick of the second round to get this guy, who is also a freak of nature? But he's going to Seattle. He's going to be with a pretty good team, and a team that actually needed a wide receiver. So Russell Wilson's going to have himself a little bit more help out there in the receiving core.
Yeah, well, he's also going to a team that doesn't have much of an offensive line and has a quarterback that likes to run around for half an hour before finally just throwing a 50-50 ball up and somehow stays on target half the time.
Well, that's where DK Metcalf comes in. See, DK Metcalf, I feel that he'll be able to create a lot of separation. And whenever Russell Wilson does throw them 50-50 balls, DK Metcalf will go up and get it.
We'll see. He has a history of dropping passes.
That's true, but I feel that Pete Carroll and the Seahawks are going to hone in on it.
Okay, well, that pretty much wraps up this episode of Let's Talk Football, our off-season special recapping the draft. We are in the process of planning a off-season series 32 for 32 where we cover and review 32 NFL teams in 32 days leading up to opening day. So keep an eye out for that, which will probably be coming in late July, I would think.
Okay, yeah, I'm down with late July, just as long as it's after my birthday.
Or early August. However, whenever the season starts. 32 days before the season starts.
I'm down with that.
So continue to follow us and subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitters, and as always, AISportsNetwork.com. This is John Behrens.
This is Joshua Perkins.
Signing out.